Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Get in the Garage.
We're a music podcast.
For music lovers.
Once again, as always, we have a great show planned for you guys today. But before we begin, we ask you, as we always ask you, to awaken the primordial algorithm that is Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and YouTube and all of the ancient primordial digital beings. So that way, help spread the word and comment and share and all that good stuff. Like, subscribe.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Tell your
Tell your
friends.
friends to tell their
So
friends.
at this point, there's so many podcasts. Support your local podcast. Let's just start coining that. It's like local radio, at this point.
Yeah, support your local podcast.
Support your local podcast. As we always do, we're going to open up with some music news. But before we do that, I'm not going to forget, like I almost forgot last week, to open up.
Get rid of the almost.
Let's hit it and quit it.
All right, let's hit it and quit it. Yeah, here. We're fine.
For how brown that banana is, you would think it'd be more brown on the inside.
This is the perfect banana.
Yeah, that's a perfect banana.
This is what peak performance looks like.
I hate not ripe banana.
You don't like what?
A banana that's too ripe.
Too ripe. As in mushy.
not too ripe. I'm sorry. That's not ripe.
Oh,
yet.
whereas might as well be like hard.
I hate it. It's got
Awful.
that weird flavor.
Awful.
It's the
Oh,
worst.
yeah.
And all these bananas have been hit or miss lately.
I got to say, Aldi, we
Step
know
your game
know
up.
that you're listening. Yeah, step up your banana game. I feel the same way. Every time Jade gets bananas from Aldi, I'm always like, I'll go to a different store to buy
one
bananas.
day.
I can't.
Aldi's-
They're never good. They're
good for one day.
Yeah, they're good for one day. Yeah, they're not ripe for the first week and a half within owning it, and then all of a sudden they're good and then they're bad.
You know where I got this banana?
Did you get that from Aldi?
Walmart.
There you go.
And then you go to Walmart.
Is it a Chiquita?
Yeah. Chiquita's
No.
No?
No.
Yeah, Walmart only carries
No.
Chiquita.
No,
they carry some. It's like Frites or something.
Is it the organic one?
No.
No.
It was like fucking bullshit.
This is bullshit. These bullshit bananas right here. You gotta get the little ones. That's the one you gotta get.
This is not banana news. This is
No, this is not.
Get in the banana.
Get in the banana. No.
getting the tree.
We get apologies for getting.
Getting
Yeah, where's our
getting the
whistle?
fruit tree.
getting fruity.
Getting fruity. So as always, we're gonna open up with some music news. Luca, can you want to open up this segment and give us our music news? You usually open it up.
Please give us the intro.
This
This just in. Britney Spears releasing a new single. Wow. Her first one in 6 years. It's going to be a cover of Elton John's Tiny Dancer with Elton John, a duet, if you will.
Nice.
And Paris Hilton, friend, has heard the song and says, iconic.
Wow.
So, wow, big thumbs up from Paris Hilton.
Wow.
I'm hoping some other people think it's more iconic. But,
Yeah, when I think of journalistic integrity on music, I think of
well, this is how the news leaks, I
Paris
think.
Hilton first, naturally.
So,
Dua Lipa had that duet with Elton John.
yeah.
This past year, I guess, from the deluxe version of her latest album, and big hit on the radio. It's Rocket Man, is the interpolation.
I have not heard this.
And I think it's on
I
the
didn't know
Dua
that either.
Lipa album, the deluxe version, but I think it was also on Elton John's duets album or whatever that was called. It was called not COVID Sessions, but it was something like that.
Yeah.
Well, very good. And Britney Spears is
it's gonna be
getting out there, and hopefully we get a new Britney Spears album that we can review for you.
Yeah.
That would be interesting and fun.
Yeah.
Jeff's like, maybe.
It'll be interesting. Will it be fun?
I mostly
To be
meant
seen.
It'll be interesting to listen to. But any of you guys got anything you want to throw out there?
I have a couple of things just in passing that I saw music news-wise that I thought would just be fun. Looks like Shakira is in a bit of financial trouble.
Oh, yo, this
for
is the biggest music news of the week that I almost missed.
And I thought to
completely.
say her hips don't lie, but her W-2 definitely does, because she is not. She is not. That was a terrible joke. I was sitting on it all week, and I'm like, this is gonna kill. I'm like,
listen, I was
this is
just letting you
terrible.
go with the dad joke. I was like, it was a good
I
joke.
appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, it's pretty wild. I don't
Unpaid taxes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
and all
want
that.
her for 8 or 10 years in prison,
But
something
this
like
is
that.
but this is the thing. Yeah.
And we know how legitimate the government of Colombia is.
No, it was Spain.
No, it was Spain.
Spain.
Oh, Spain.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Spanish government.
Isn't she Colombian, though?
14.5 million euros, about $15 million in taxes between 2012 and 2014. God damn, $15 million
Yeah, it
in
was
taxes
15
in 2
millions
years.
in back taxes because she owns a home there. I think
You back that much amount of taxes in 2 years? That's
the thing was, it was like she has a house
Stadium
there,
tours.
and if like you live there for a certain amount of the year,
Sure.
you have to pay taxes. But she was like, I didn't live there, and they're like, yeah, you did.
Yeah, and they want.
So that's the dispute that's happening.
Yeah, it's 8 years and 2 months in prison, as well as a fine of 24 million euros.
Yeah. Wow.
Woo! Shakira. Pay your taxes. I mean, this isn't. I was thinking about that too, though. I'm like, this is not like musicians have been doing this forever. They're like the number one person, like to hear people
Talk
to,
to
like,
the Rolling Stones, man.
That's what I'm saying, though.
And pay your taxes is like all well and good, but Shakira doesn't fill out her fucking tax forms. She has a team of people that didn't do their job or
Right,
purposely did not do their job. You
Yeah.
know, like
Right, and that's kind of how it's like
It's not-
heartbreaking
yeah.
because you're like, what the hell, man? Like Shakira, she might be trying to cheat in her taxes.
exactly.
But
It's
you know, we don't
It's
know.
that same thing, though. Remember, it was kind of like, wasn't she on the list for like one of those musicians that like Elton John was on? There was other celebrities
Oh,
too.
yeah,
that was like the weird like offshore
the
account
Panama- the Panama
fraudulent.
Papers.
Yeah, that whole thing. Wasn't she one? I thought Shakira was one of them.
She might have been. Elton John was definitely.
one of
named
them,
in
yeah.
that fucking thing because
Yeah,
he has
yeah.
fucking money
You're
in
like,
offshore
oh,
accounts
Elton.
everywhere.
It's just $20 million in boas and sparkling star glasses.
I invested in cocaine.
rhinestones. It's just vaults
Yes,
of
it's
rhinestones.
rhinestones. They're like, Elton John, you know this is plastic, right? These are fake stones.
They're gorgeous.
It's all right.
Michael, Jeff, do you have music news?
I did, and then I forgot what it is.
Movie God.
Moving.
Michael, this is music news for you.
I think I know what it is.
The James Gang is getting back together
They ride again
for one
the last
final
time.
reunion. It says special guest
Yeah.
Dave Grohl, which I
Yeah.
would imagine would mean Dave Grohl is playing drums for the James Gang. That's what I thought. Because I would think maybe the James Gang drummer might not be in capacity. I don't know, but I was assuming that meant Dave Grohl was drumming for the gang.
Am I correct in seeing that Nine Inch Nails is one of the supporting acts?
Yes, you
Yes.
are. Nine Inch Nails, the Black Keys, and the Breeders.
This is going to be November
heard of the
13th. The Breeders are
Punky, whatever.
the bass player from the Pixies.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Kim Deal.
Kim Deal.
Anyway, it's going to be November 13th. The reason for the weird concert lineup is this is a benefit concert for veterans.
Oh, cool.
So that's why like all the artists got together and did a benefit concert for veterans. And this is going to be the James Gang's like really final show ever.
Are all
And
three guys still alive?
I don't know.
I
That's
don't
why
know.
it said special. When it said special
Yeah.
guest, I think the drummer can't play drums anymore.
Oh yeah, they're 75 years old. So
Yeah.
I believe that's what the thing is, but we'll see and when more information's released, and that's exciting for all you classic rock heads fans out there. And James Gang do Walk Away. If you
Yeah.
know that
Yeah.
song, the Eagles play it quite a bit when they played live. So, you know,
yeah, and Joe Walsh, like for anybody who doesn't know, Joe Walsh is like the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon version of rock and roll history. Like he somehow was connected to every single artist you've ever known from like 1966 on. Like giving people their first guitars and shit like that.
yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah.
taught
Like
like
all this-
he taught Dwayne Allman how to play slide,
Right.
And then Dwayne Allman becomes like the best, or
Right.
Dwayne Allman taught him how to play slide.
He gave Jimmy Page the first Les Paul.
Les Paul.
Yeah, it's like stuff
Yeah.
like that. I
Because
believe
Page was playing a telly at that point.
his Les Paul came from Pete Townsend of the Who.
Oh.
Gave something
Because in
like that
England,
happened.
yeah, in England there were like 3 guys had Les Pauls in
Pauls.
1967
Yeah, yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
because it was like, yeah, right.
very interesting.
Very hard to
stuff.
come by. That's, yeah.
But yeah,
Cool.
Interesting. I have another thing.
yeah, but
We have more. This is Mike's like legal corner, because Peloton, the famous aerobic and exercise machine manufacturer, is being sued for unlicensed use of Cypress Hill House of Pain songs. There was a lawsuit filed against Peloton for like illegally using them, and they've already been sued for copyright infringement in March of 2019 because they were like illegally playing Rihanna, Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, many more without obtaining proper license. The lawsuit was settled in 2020. So
You know why?
It's it's interesting.
Music agents or these publishers are freaking working out, and they're like, I own this.
Yeah,
I
And
don't
it's on the background of a mix I'm biking to.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
like, I don't remember signing this. That's
yeah.
how those lawsuits are happening.
I bet you. Yeah,
because
Peloton too. That's
they're,
like
that's the
know,
customer base.
they're like the new Bowflex, except more expensive.
They're the new Nordic track.
No, they're the new
The
Gazelle.
Gazelle. Thank you. Tony Little.
Thank
or
you,
whatever his
Tony
name is.
Little. God bless you, Tony. Is he still alive? I'd feel bad if he died.
beautiful ponytail.
Amazing ponytail, yeah.
Pony Little.
Pony.
Speaking of beautiful men over here, I told Mike earlier he's looking like a snack. Look at
Thank
this
you.
shirt unbuttoned.
Yeah,
It's business casual Wednesdays.
Yeah, dude. You got those rounded glasses.
I'm feeling good. I'm on to a new chapter in my personal life. Things have been.
Dude, you look like you got some parliaments in that
starting
pocket.
to I wish I had some fucking I wish I had some parliaments. Coke and smokes, as they're called on the street. You put a bump in there, and then you smoke your parliament.
Jesus.
A recess filter, baby. Parliament, look, sponsor this
That's
podcast.
that's a Joe Walsh special right
Speaking of parliaments,
If cigarettes sponsored this podcast, I mean, I don't condone it, but I mean, I would smoke.
I'd smoke. I don't need a sponsor to smoke.
God.
I'll just buy a pack of cigarettes. I don't give a shit.
Me and Mike telling the public who we
Oh,
really are.
God, yeah. Well, nicotine's a hard one to kick, guys. Don't smoke.
Do you got anything else?
I have
or-
another fun one to end on a light note. Guy Fieri is apparently following Rage Against the Machine on tour.
I did see this TikTok.
Following? What do you
That's
mean
literally
following?
the thing. I think it's like in the way that like
I think he
Deadheads
just,
follow.
I think he just went to a
the Dead.
show. I saw
Oh,
one
okay.
TikTok of him at a
Apparently
show.
the only thing Guy Fieri
It's
loves
like,
more than Mac
you
Daddy
won't
mac
do
and
what
cheese
you
and chicken
tell me.
avocado egg rolls is Rage Against the Machine. The mayor of Flavortown himself is following Rage Against the Machine, on their ongoing reunion tour.
The camera in this TikTok pans around, and it's like you're just watching Rage Against the Machine, and then Guy is sitting
Yeah,
there
he's just like
with a cigar, and he's just like, fucking,
yeah, the
like,
picture of him that I have
rocking
here, I'll
with
post it
cigar.
up. It's him with a cigar and like he's holding like a bottle of some expensive
Yeah, it was
alcoholic
really
beverages.
it was
looks like.
really
What is
fun to
that?
go
It's
see.
It's probably tequila, knowing him.
Oh, here's a
Yeah, it's tequila. Yeah.
I guess a slight music news, but another funny one, and it reminds me. I did see a recent video. We talked many episodes ago about the Smash Mouth front lead singer meltdown. I saw a recent video of him having a meltdown at a live show.
Oh, he had another one.
Yeah,
They kicked
I
him
think
out of the
that's
band.
I
He
think
must
that's
be
what
in
he's
another
doing
band.
all the time now.
Yeah, I bet you.
These
know, but
people
I bet
being
you
like,
nobody
"Play
owns
All
that.
Star," and he's like, "How about fuck you?"
Yeah. I don't know why for legal reasons, but if I can put it in, I'll put it in.
Yeah.
I'll find some.
He's
more
like
to put it
yelling
in
at people. He's
somewhere.
like, "You say that to my fucking face, I'll come out there right now and beat the fuck out."
I mean, the original one, I'll link
the
it.
TikTok. I think you could put that TikTok in because they're not playing music on most of those parts, so it's not.
It's just him
it's,
screaming
It's just him
obscenities
screaming
at
because
people.
you can't hear anything.
And it's
Yeah.
always like 4 p.m. at a winery or something.
Yeah.
like an outdoor amphitheater.
like,
yeah.
Oh, it's
He's at a
bad.
tiki bar on like a family day
Yeah.
in like Malibu, and he's just like, "You guys suck.
My favorite thing he
My
says.
songs were in Shrek."
I love when he's like, "I'll kill your whole family."
That's the first one.
That's my favorite.
Yeah,
one.
I'll link that one. That's the first one. It's an amazing meltdown. Amazing. But anyway,
Before we go, Luke's movie corner. Daniel Radcliffe is starring in the Weird Al movie
Oh, I
on
saw
the
that.
Roku channel. So
The Roku channel.
whatever the fuck that is, it's coming out November 4th.
I gotta get another streaming service.
You
Jesus,
don't. I'm just
so
saying, if
tapped
you
out.
like, I want to see the Weird Al movie.
I have Roku. Does that mean I have the Roku channel?
I
You
believe so.
should.
I think like when it goes by in like the cityscape,
Right.
it'll be like, oh, the Weird Al movie.
Oh, yeah, I don't have a Roku.
I'm really looking forward to seeing that movie.
Starring Harry Potter as Weird Al.
And like a
Jeff's
bunch of
favorite
other
instrument is the
people.
accordion.
I saw a cast list recently. Like somebody famous is playing Dr. Demento. Somebody famous is playing, I don't know. It's gonna be a meme movie.
Yeah, should be fun. All right,
Moving on.
moving on. So this week, it also lined up too because I think 2 days ago was Mr. Jerry Garcia's birthday. But
80th would have been his 80th.
yes,
Thanks, Jerry.
thank you, Jerry. Yes, with your missing ring finger. We also this year are celebrating the Grateful Dead's Europe '72 album. It's the 50th reissue special that they're doing with.
Yeah, there's a new box set that came out
Yes.
for Europe '72. It has more shows, more day, all that good stuff. You know, one of those giant boxes that the Dead put out. If you're into that kind of thing and want to hear all the shows, go for it. But the actual anniversary is this November. So
Yeah.
the actual
Yeah.
50th is November, but we're talking about it now
Because it was just released. The box set was
And this,
or just,
this box set, the additional disc is the final show
yeah.
on the tour's entirety.
Yeah, the
Because-
Lyceum Theater in
Because if you
in
want to spend
London.
72 hours listening to top to bottom every show on that tour,
You can.
That's been out
Yeah.
for
They
15
released
years.
that, yes. So let me just give you just a quick, okay? So you have the
For
original
real
Europe
fans.
72 is released, the 17 tracks, 3 LPs. The 30th anniversary, Steppin' Out with the Grateful Dead, England 72, an additional 20 tracks are added to this. And then the third is the complete recordings, a 73 CD box set of 22 full shows.
Yeah, it's on Spotify and it's like 72 hours long.
Oh my goodness. But that being said, this tour / recording is significant because up until this point, I don't think the Dead had released any like really big live release. I don't think
Not
so.
live, no.
Not live. It was mostly just
They did. They released
Studio.
the live album.
they did have one. I thought they had to have one live one before this.
Yes, I believe it's actually just called Live.
Yes, but I don't know how big that was culturally as far
Not
as
Right,
definitely,
right.
Definitely not a big seller.
Well, so Europe 72, it's significant because there are songs that the Grateful Dead had on recorded studio albums, but they were also playing other songs that were not featured on any album. So the only way that you could hear them is if you saw the Dead live.
Right.
And they kicked off on Europe 72 from, I think I had read that they took like some sort of like a 3-year hiatus from like playing, I think, out, but just concentrating on songwriting and stuff. And then they launched April Fool's Day, April 1st of 1972. They launched to a European tour. They start in England and they circle around and all that stuff. And then they circle back. And on the way out, they stop. I think it's, May 26th of 1972. So yeah, 22 shows. And what's cool about this is that every show was recorded with, what was it? A 16-track recording system. So it was like top-notch recording, man. This is 16 tracks. Like, that's,
The studio album, was that originally overdubbed? That has some overdubs on it, right? It has to.
This Europe
the
72.
first one?
The original Europe 72 that came out.
All of these do.
All of these have overdubs.
Because Jerry Garcia very famously was singing sharp on pretty much every single song. So they sped up the tape slightly on all of the instrumentals because it's not quite tuned to E. It's in between E and F. Because he was singing a little too high the whole time.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they moved it to match his vocals better.
Interesting.
Sped up the tape.
yeah. So there is some kind of, not like
Yeah.
a lot of overdubbing though. I mean, I would imagine there might
They
be
did some vocals,
some
but,
vocal
you know,
overdubbing, harmony
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
But just clean up the tapes. The original concert sounds flawless and amazing, and it has. For me, it's the Americana Grateful Dead. Not so much like the psychedelic. There's jamming galore on here, but there's like Americana Dead. There's not like a crazy amount of funky stuff on here. Pigpen last recording
Yep.
with the band as well.
Yeah,
Pigpen was the keyboardist.
Keyboardist,
Organ player. Bluesy singer.
and harmonica,
all that
yeah,
stuff,
and harmonica and stuff.
So
yeah.
that's
First thing with the God shows.
Yep.
Keith and Donna. Keith was their pianist in the bulk of the 70s, and Donna did backing vocals.
Yeah.
Do we have a favorite song that's featured on this set? For me, Jack Straw.
Yeah.
You can share the wine. I'm not the biggest Dead fan, but they have
Yeah.
some songs I enjoy.
I'm a Mr. Charlie guy. This is like the only Dead record I actually like.
But listen, this is, and I've been saying this forever. When people like, when I was coming and trying to talk you guys into some Dead, but the one thing I will always say is the only Dead album you ever need is Europe 72.
I
It's
think
the only
so.
one you need. I think so. There's some tracks that come later that are played live that are good, but for me, front to back, this is the only one you need.
I think it works like a greatest hits. I think it catalogs their first incarnation perfectly. In like a, do you want to know what the Grateful Dead were like from the '60s till like '72?
Yeah.
This is that record.
Yeah.
No Mickey Hart.
No,
So no dual drummers. He was not part of the band for this 2-3 years.
And I think that's what makes this a little more like Americana-y and not so like jam percussion-y.
Yeah.
I mean, like me and Mike listen. This is like a me and Michael summer album. We just listen to, you know what I mean? But like Tennessee
Yeah.
Jed on here, Trucking, the Grateful Dead classic, China Cat, Sunflower, the song we were singing to Jeff earlier, Sugar Magnolia.
Not Scarlet Begonias.
Sugar Magnolia, blossoms blooming.
Don't confuse the two, as I did.
I think this is a really, really strong, solid record.
Yeah, if someone said what is the Grateful Dead, this is what you play.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know.
Michael, what's your favorite thing on here?
Well, I have quite a few because this album for me, just the backstory on I think why this album is resonated so much with me was that this record, I really started diving deep into it where it was like this one particular summer. Everybody has like these little pockets of their lives, you know. And this was this one summer when I was like, you know, like kind of like hanging out and living with like hippies and stuff, and you know, and I'm living in Westerly. This was kind of the soundtrack to that whole experience, and it had very, very high highs and very, very low lows. But it was like the soundtrack. So for me, this record's really important. He's Gone is like one of my favorite songs on the album.
That's a super good song.
Yeah, that might be my second
It's
favorite.
such a great song. I interpreted it much differently than like the actual meaning of the song, because the meaning was about the Grateful Dead breaking ties with, I think, like a manager or like a road manager, something like that. Somebody who kind of like did them dirty. But
Mickey Hart's dad.
yeah, it was Mickey
Who
Hart
embezzled
that-
money from the
Right,
band.
right,
That's
right.
why he wasn't in the band for a couple
Right,
years.
that's what it is. Yes. Yeah. So He's Gone is great. Let me think. I just want to pull up the track listing real quick because.
Is Touch of Grey on this album?
Oh, you wish. You wish.
Yeah.
Know Your Writer's on here.
Yeah, Know You Rider, right. So, like, You Win Again. So it's China Cat, Sunflower into I Know You Rider. I mean, of course, Brown Eyed Woman's great. It Hurts Me Too. Yeah, Hurts Me Too is so good.
Ramble on Rose.
Ramble on Rose.
One of my one of my favorite
Yeah.
favorite tracks in this record.
Yeah.
I love the Frankenstein like lyrical references in this one.
Yeah, man.
Super good.
Even Cumberland Blues, like the whole thing, like front to back, it plays like just like a really, really great
Summer Afternoon.
Summer
Dead.
Afternoon. I mean, the only things, if I have any complaints, it's tracks 15 and 16, Epilogue and Prelude. It's kind of like, okay, they're just kind of like sort of randomly like doing
Yeah,
like some sort
Epilogue,
of exploration-y kind
That's
of
like
thing.
the psychedelic '60s nonsense that's still in the Dead at this point. And then like after this, they didn't-
close with Morning Dew, at least on the record.
Yes,
and
yes,
that's an incredible song. I mean, I love that song. I love that song.
Yeah, so I mean, if
So-
you're not into the spacey nonsense, skip Epilogue and Prelude. But otherwise, this is a pretty timely. Everything's under like 7 minutes on most tracks. So
Yeah, and for me, this is like one of those albums that's kind of like, I mean, it's the Allman Brothers at the Fillmore. It's Frampton Comes Alive. It's like what's in that like sort of like
I like
this
way
is
better than
one,
Frampton Comes Alive.
I mean, sure, but what I'm saying is it's like this. It's an iconic live album, and it's just so good. And it's pulled. There's parts that are pulled from London shows in Paris, Amsterdam, and Copenhagen. But the show that's featured the most is the Lyceum show. So there's a little bit of overlap when it comes to the complete set that you'll get with like the second album. That's like the live show just from there. Quite a bit of overlap because, like I said, most were pulled from there. But there's other ones peppered in the studio live release, if you want to call it that. So yeah, definitely worth a listen. It's the only Dead album you need. It is.
strongly agree.
Yeah. So anyway, you guys feel good on that? Should we take a quick break and then
Yeah.
and then we'll come
keep
back
on
in.
trucking.
We'll keep on we'll keep on trucking. Another good song. Anyway,
Got my chips cashed in
trucking
with the doodah man.
We'll be right back.
Long strange string.
Welcome back to Get in the Garage.
We're the music podcast.
For music lovers.
Our new album this week is the latest release by Queen Bee, Beyoncé. It's called Renaissance. Her first album in 6 years after Lemonade. Highly anticipated, long awaited, an album that I think really delivered. This album is a dance album through and through. It is nonstop. It's relentless. It's all beats and feels and moods and emotions and vibes. What did you guys think about this album?
This is my first Beyonce album I've ever like gotten into.
Okay.
Ever.
As well,
I've
me as
not,
well.
Like the only Beyonce, like if I'm being straight, it's like Crazy in Love, like, and then falls off my radar really.
Okay.
Maybe like To the Left.
Oh yeah.
But this record fucking blew my socks off. I loved this record so much. This is like the Year of the Dance album. This one, I cannot see another record topping this record. It took everything that's great about dance music and put all these personal touches about the scene and culture of dance music and where it's come from. And it represents all of those people that like dance music and all different kinds of dance music and blends it together in what I could say is probably one of the best representations of dance music as a thing done in a pop record. So you taking this underground culture, you're elevating it into a pop record, and everything on here is authentic. It's well done. It's not whitewashed pop kind of thing. It's like it still has those gritty, wonderful dance moments. And I'm not a huge into the like dance culture, but I mean even like I like a band like Liquid from like the 80s, and this had like all that kind of vibe in it. Had deep house and amazing. And then I'm not even talking about the lyrical content yet, which I thought was the icing on the cake for everything. But how'd you like it just overall?
I really liked it. I listening to it, to me, there's a lot of we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the record itself in a minute, but for me, I listened to this and I'm like, oh, okay, so what this album is this album is full of songs that I think are now the new contemporary present songs of the sort of the representation of, say the the LGBTQ plus community. You know what I'm saying? So you look at like an I'm Every Woman, and you look at like I Will Survive, and like all those like early sort of songs that were kind of like in the culture all the way up through, and then you have like Madonna with like Vogue, and like you get into the 1980s, and then I think that like you had like Lady Gaga, Walk This Way. That was a big one. I think
Born This Way.
Born This Way. Sorry, Walk This Way. The opposite, the complete opposite. Sorry. But really though, and that's what when I listened to this thing front to back, and I did a little bit of research up on it, and she had dedicated it to her uncle, who I think was
died of complications.
Yeah,
from
he
HIV.
died from complications of HIV.
I read that in an article.
So yes, it's very. There's that's not the only sort of like leanings in there, themes maybe that you could say are interwoven in there, but it's one of the strong ones. Yeah,
it's like if she kind of took something that wasn't necessarily from her like background, she definitely made sure to let you know where it was coming from in some sort of way, which I thought was really like it was thoughtful. Like that's why it was like, this is what this is, and that's what that is, kind of thing.
Yeah, because dance music in America predominantly comes from Black culture, predominantly from LGBTQ plus culture.
Yeah.
So lots of tips of the cap to that, to those groups, and like straight up interpolations of famous classic dance songs. She references Robyn S. on Break My Soul. She references The Closer, Summer Renaissance, I think is the name of the track, is the melody of I Feel Love by Donna Summer. She has a Right Said Fred reference in Alien Superstar, I think is the track.
I'm Too Sexy.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like very...
And then
authentic.
there was the Khalees interpolation that got taken out as of this is
out.
that would
as of last night.
That would have been some music news. So if you listen to the album before like the week it came out, you got the original version. And now you'll never hear it again.
I listened to it before. The sample was in there, but it was so underneath like 4 other layers of samples that I listened to the A/B like on a YouTube video. I'm like, oh, I guess
It was
I
hard.
guess she took out that milkshake reference for the 6 seconds it was buried in the mix. Like,
Yeah.
okay. And cool that she did that. Cool that she changed the lyric.
Yeah.
There was a ableist word that was included, just like the same word that Lizzo took out of one of her songs. It's like, it's 2022. If you want to alter your stuff, go to the studio, take out a word, take out a line, change things up. Like, please, not please people in a like selling out or whatever kind of way, but like, please, your fan base. If you want to listen to your fan base and take consideration, do cool.
See, I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny that Khaleesi was kind of like, I didn't say you could do that, and she was like, oh, really then? And she just like ripped it right off the album. She's like, well, you're not making any money. And then, well, she wasn't making any money
Right.
anyway because that song wasn't even written by Khaleesi.
Yeah.
It was all credited to the Neptunes production.
Right.
So another interesting fact in that little
There
story
you go.
there.
The more you know.
But
Yeah, so I think this was a great album. It is, every song flows into the next. This is like, there are no ballads. This is, put it on, it's an hour and 1 minute, I think, and it is dance music top to bottom. It's part 1 or act 1 of what is going to be a 3-act release rollout. So we'll see when those come out. We'll see what types of albums those are, but I wouldn't be surprised if the next 2 albums are similar, where it's like one concept and style of music for each of the next 2. Me personally, I'd love if Beyonce did one album of like kind of in the room organic soul music, like the 60s soul records, and I would love if like her third was like live recorded, like if she did like a cool ass like gospel album or like something where it's like, because she's badass. Like, Beyonce is great. I mean, she has the best producers, best all that stuff, but like, I'd love to hear her sing live for an hour. Like,
some of the vocal runs in this record
that's
too,
super impressive.
Like,
she's
yes,
awesome.
fire, and you could tell it like it wasn't studio trickery. It's like you can't
Yeah.
sing like that unless you can sing like
That's
that.
I actually
like
was
in
like,
Virgo's,
I thought
in Virgo's groove.
Yeah, at the end.
Dude.
That one, I was like, is this? I had to stop I stopped what I was doing when I was listening to it. I'm just like, and I kind of like did that. Like, I leaned forward. I'm like, is this some sort of auto-tune
she goes
studio
like,
wizardry? But then I'm like, I don't think it is. I don't. I mean,
everything
don't know.
has something
She
on it
does-
nowadays,
Right,
but
right.
she has
She does-
But
skills.
she's capable of doing that, right?
that one run where it's like, and then she comes back in. You're like, fuck, man.
Yeah,
But she
man.
holds the line the whole time. You're like,
Yeah,
oof.
and I love how every song goes into the next. Like, there's not really, and there's cool transitions. Like, it's like, but it still sounds like it's one long song, but there are cool like.
There's
definite
times where they have the
transitions.
DJ, like a DJ voice being like,
Well, Alien.
"This is not a test. The beat is still
beginning.
going."
Yeah, right.
the beginning of
Don't
Alien
leave the dance
Superstar.
floor.
Yeah.
I loved like, okay, so if we're gonna talk like getting the nitty gritty of the songs, like for me the start off, is the vocal in the background, like these motherfuckers, like that shit, it like tones up, like Beyonce steps up. She really is asserting herself on this record as confident. The record was more like sexually charged than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, super. Right.
Yeah, because Beyonce's more of like a pop star that's kind of like untouchable. So like her like sexuality is like kind of more of like the Queen waving like this.
Well, and it used to be because I'm big Beyonce album listener and stuff.
Her father, manager.
Right, and her album, it was 2 albums ago, the self-titled Beyonce album was the first album where there were like 4 or I think maybe half the tracks had the explicit little thing on it.
Yeah.
And she's like singing about her personal life and sex, and she's motherfucking this and stuff like that. And it was like groundbreaking because she had a pristine like porcelain exterior and image, and I love that she's like raw and real, and she's gotten the Jay-Z influence, the hip hop, all that stuff, becoming older, more mature, being a mother of 3, blah blah blah. So,
Yes, and like I understood who she was more from like just like this whole record. I was like, oh, I know you. Like I know you. Like she gave herself in like ways that was like so. It added artfully to the song. Just like step up with the first song, and then to come in with like the second song being cozy and telling people that the skin you're in, again, like a lot of the message of the Lizzo record that we reviewed a couple weeks ago, like you're perfect the way you are. I like how cozy was the way, like the way she framed it was so so much more artful than a Lizzo like lyric, which I also thought was a little better, like the saying cozy and comfortable in my skin, like, and just flavoring it that way. I thought was a little more artful and fun. I think one of my favorite songs in this whole record, Alien Superstar.
Yeah.
Rolling into that. That song for me is 100% like, I don't know this culture at all, but from falling in love with RuPaul's Drag Race, like, which I think is a lot of people's entry into that. This song was like total RuPaul all over.
Yeah.
It had some of my favorite lyrics I've ever heard in songs ever. Stilettos kicking vintage crystal off the bar was like one of my favorite lyrics I've ever heard. Stilettos kicking vintage crystal. I was like, vintage
it's that
crystal?
spoken.
Yeah.
And then the other one in that same kind of beat was lingerie penetrating off the mirror on the bar. It's just like so. The imagery is great. It's beautiful. It's like so like that thing to like a T. And you know what it is when you hear it. It's beautiful. I also, another song I wanted to shout out was Virgo's Groove, which I said earlier.
Yeah, that's my favorite song.
Yeah, it might be my favorite as well. Yeah.
As a Virgo, we get no songs. There's like no songs written about Virgos, none. And if they are, they're usually like about like how like a Virgo is like a jealous lover kind of
Earth
shit.
sign.
Right, and everybody usually writes about like Scorpio and like shit like that, or like the shit like that, Taurus.
Yeah.
But
Libra.
Virgo's Groove as a Virgo was the groove, man.
Yeah.
It was like, that was the shit for me. I was like, it flowed. It was like one of the dance tracks on the record too, where it was more of like a straight up vibe and the vocals did not matter at all in that record. And I loved it, man. This record, I really did fall in love with this record moment after moment.
Cool.
Did you guys have any other tracks that you and lyrics?
I mean, I love the song Cuff It, because she goes, I'm in the mood to fuck something up. And then you just hear like, I'm in the mood to fuck something up. Like, it's like this whole thing where it's like, she has this great thing where
so funky.
There's this great thing that she does in this whole entire album. She peppers in herself laughing at herself. Yeah. And it's done so tastefully and so cleverly. And it's this sort of like sly look being like, hey, are you still here with me? Because it's kind of like that wink. It's like that. She's looking at you and winking because she's being like, yeah, I know. This is great.
She had a line. It was like flip flop, flipping flopping ass bitch. You're like, what? Like, so ridiculous.
I love the Grace Jones, or I should say, the Honorable Grace Jones. On there
one of the
too.
queens, one of the big figures in dance music.
And Thames.
Thames,
it was a Nigerian singer. Beam,
great feature.
Energy. My God, the chorus that he sings on that song.
Yeah.
Is when it comes in, it brings the mood of that song so like.
That's what I mean, man. This record is just it checks every box. It checks every box.
You guys gotta go back. You gotta listen to her 2 albums preceding this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think if you enjoyed this, you'll enjoy at least most of those 2. Yeah.
And for me too, just to say, and I don't know if this is how you guys feel, but it's like, so Luke and I had a conversation a couple weeks ago where we're just kind of like, noticing the fact that in the sense of rock and roll, most of the exciting rock and roll that we're seeing right now is coming especially from like female artists. And I want to say this about Beyonce. This to me is the album that I wanted Drake's album to be. And this is going to sound a little crass and a little bit whatever, and I apologize if I offend you. But I'm just sick of hearing sad boy hip hop music. And in contrast, I like hearing this music, which is like a strong woman who is confident in herself, like and is not afraid to be vulnerable, because there are vulnerable moments on this record. There's intimate
plastic
moments
off the sofa.
That's what I'm saying. There's intimate moments in this record where she's talking about like herself from the perspective of somebody in a relationship and stuff like that, but it's just done so clever and so well, and it's like a celebration of the highs and the lows. And that's where I think Drake's album, because these are the 2 sort of albums that are kind of like come out of nowhere from these 2 artists that are very reminiscent of the Euro dance, Chicago dance hall beat kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? But I just think her version of this is just done.
Well, that's because Beyonce is powerful and like.
Well, you look at
and Drake's kind of whack. Like, I mean, he has a lot of good stuff, but he's kind of corny and whack.
The artistry of Drake is somewhat one noted, and when you move it to a different kind of genre that he's not that's not like comfortable in, you see it glaringly. You're like, that's not right. That doesn't fit there.
Yeah.
She moves into it, and you go, that's a
that's
a master artist.
But that's what I'm saying. You look at Beyonce do this, and you're just like, oh, it's almost as if she's never not done this. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right,
like,
'cause
oh,
she
okay,
is-
it's just eternally. That's
Right,
what you're
'cause-
like. Oh yeah, obviously.
She's 21st century like Tina Turner. That's like
Yeah,
she
right.
is a dancer. She is
Yeah.
a performer. She
Also,
like hot stuff.
Before we leave, I don't think we can leave without talking about the song "Church Girls," which was like, for me,
Yeah, that's later, right?
her
Nope.
flipping the narrative of what somebody would think a church girl is and what a church girl does, was just like another moment of artistry on this record, where she rewrites the script for somebody that hasn't had that script really written, and lyrically, the rapping that she does over it is so fire, so good. And again, it's the putting a little bit of yourself in the music, where I feel like other artists aren't as willing to give up themselves and give up the gravy of who they are, and the laughing and taking it, not serious and serious in other parts, adds to the full picture of a beautiful album.
Yeah,
So-
it might actually be like a perfect album, because I'm thinking about it, right? And it's like there are these like hedonistic qualities to it as well. They're very, very strong sexual qualities, but there's confidence. It's so well rounded. It's such a well rounded record. It's so well done.
It gives you maybe kind of like what a Stevie Wonder would do, where he would give you the laughs, the cries, the ups, the downs, an album for the
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like I said, it's in the string of what she's been doing this past decade. She hasn't had any missteps. Like, it's been a great progression this past decade, and for me, this is a 9.5. This is a very strong 9.5. It is. It's my second favorite Beyonce album as of today. I have it underneath her self-titled Beyonce. I have it slightly. I enjoy it slightly more than Lemonade, but those are the three most recent albums, and yeah, she is the queen.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm a solid 9.5.
Yeah.
For me, it might grow into a 10, but it's solid 9.5 all day. It's such a solid record. It's great. It's amazing. Pitchfork gave it a 9. Everyone's giving it great reviews. It's not just hype. It's not hype. It's a great record.
Yeah. I will agree. I'll go 9.5. So 9.5s all around. Yeah, I just want to remind you that you've rated Beyonce now 2.5 points from Journey. So just to
On
keep
the
you
journey,
there.
that journey was a 7.
Beyonce is only 20% better than 2022 Journey.
Sorry, I couldn't let you get away with it. It's the standard now that
Hey,
you're a boomer.
That's the benchmark.
The benchmark. Can they beat Journey's new album? That's the question.
Moving on. So this was a dance album, and we
I say
thought
it with love. I
we
say it
thought
with
something that I will never take it back. 7? 7's a 7.
Yeah,
it was
strong.
a 7.
Strong. It's all right.
The
7's
album
good. It's right at
called
7.
Freedom. The track
Called Freedom.
No, the track was called God, I can't remember it now.
I don't remember. The
think
last
it was-
time I listened to Journey was when we had to listen to it.
United we
right.
stand. United we stand.
We stand. Divided we fall.
So to pair with this Beyonce Renaissance album, we thought we would briefly discuss some other seminal dance albums from this 21st century. So I chose 3 that we listened to and we'll talk about. They are Daft Punk's Discovery from 2001, Robyn's Body Talk. The second chronologically. Girl Talks Feed the Animals from 2008, and Robyn's Body Talk from 2010. These are albums that I was listening to heavily starting in college, so I got into that Daft Punk record in 2006, about 5 years after it came out. And then when the Robyn album came out, I enjoyed listening to the hits of that during that time. The Feed the Animals album is a party soundtrack of my college days. So let's start with the Daft Punk album. For me, this is like one of the gold standards of electronic music. It has Daft Punk, for those who don't know, was a duo of French guys. They do French house music, influenced by Chicago house, influenced by UK garage music, influenced by techno, funk, disco. This is their second album. This album is like they do a lot of these like micro samples of songs that like you don't even realize they're samples because they structure it so seamlessly. But what did you guys think about the album Discovery?
This was another one I thought where I was like, I don't really know this record, and then I played it, and I'm like, I know every single song
Wow, interesting.
on
Yeah,
this
yeah.
record.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
because I was like, I don't know this record,
Yeah.
and then you put it on, you're like, this record is so ingrained in our culture at this
Yeah.
point that it's like car commercials. It's the music, the bumper music that used to play on VH1 and MTV all the time was all this Daft Punk album.
Really?
Yes. Like in between, like I Love the '70s, like when it'd be like, bow, bow, and they'd be like, coming up next. It was all like Daft Punk music, and I never would realize it. Also, the Kanye West sample of Harder, Faster, Stronger was on this record, and I did not know that that was a Daft Punk sample.
Yeah.
Thought that was a Kanye original. Who
Yeah.
knew?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Also, the one that is was the song I thought was on here. Yeah, it Celebrates on there, right? It's the first song, right? No.
One More Time.
One More Time.
Right.
One More Time.
That
The big single. It's like
the one I was really
Huge
familiar. That's
song.
the only Daft Punk song I knew
Yeah.
before.
Get Lucky.
Get
and stuff
Lucky
like that, yeah.
came out, but that song was always played when you were roller skating at the skate inn when I was a child.
Yeah.
One more time. They're like,
Yeah.
you're like, we're gonna close up pretty soon.
Happy birthday to Sarah.
One
Yeah.
more time.
Yeah. I mean that was the going to commercial for like the Super Bowl, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's just like that
It's all this music
it's
is
so good.
Is,
It's such a great record.
a lot of this music was end up being used for like kind of advertising purposes
Yeah.
and things like that, and it was and it ended up being sampled heavily in the pop music that came after it. So I thought that was like really, really quite interesting. I was like, oh, this record was like influential on not only the fact that it was a popular record, but artists after that took it and then chopped up the chop up, which is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's doubly chopped now in a lot of people's work. Very interesting record.
Yeah, and this is there's only a couple vocalists featured. Daft Punk themselves are doing like vocoder type of robot vocals on I think only 2 songs. They have an artist named Romanthony who sings One More Time, the opener, and then the closer, which is called Too Long. And Todd Edwards, who's another DJ, artist, singer, is on Face to Face, which I think is the second last track. So it's a lot of like instrumental music with chopped up soul disco type of samples as like the hooks. Some high moments, in my opinion. Aerodynamic, which is a song that's kind of like if Bach and Van Halen were to meet, because there's that break where it's all like dibba 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 dibba, and it's like the tone of the keyboard makes it sound like it's tap guitars. The song Digital Love has this like super tramp style keyboard thing, and then it's like the most sick keyboard solo of all time. It's like it used to be my ringtone in college. Back when you had to like go onto a website and like put in a credit card for 50 cents to get that was my ringtone, is when the thing drops and like goes like subterranean on the keyboard solo. And my personal favorite song, like we were talking off air of like maybe coming up with a list of top 10 Desert Island songs one of these days, and Something About Us is the low key vibe song that is like, it sounds kind of like a Notorious B.I.G. track, like a Nate Dogg track. It's Daft Punk on the vocoder vocals. One of my favorite songs of all time. And Short Circuit, which is like a crazy, super retro, like kind of like Rocket by Herbie Hancock. The song that's like
Rocket. That song goes out.
Right. And everyone knows that. Or like Axel F. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
And that song, Short Circuit, is crazy because halfway through, it gets this like sickening like pitch shifty thing. And then the song like degrades digitally more and more for the last like 2 minutes. It's like a really nuts thing like in 2001 that they could do this with digital recording technology.
Computers in 2001 were such garbage. So anything they were doing on here is just like a miracle it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this album,
Yeah, really,
like,
think about it. Right.
I was happy that we got to listen to this. It's been a while since I listened to it.
Yeah, I listened to this today, hanging out, swimming in a pool, and I put it on, and it was like I put it on, and even Jay was just like, Fatter, faster, stronger. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, yeah, man, it's like it's so good. You had a CD. Didn't you have like a CD booklet or a case or something that you had found at your parents' house or something? And I think you let me borrow this CD.
Oh, I don't think I've ever had the CD of this.
Which one was it? You gave me a Daft Punk CD at
that
one
was
point.
the album called Random Access Memories,
Oh,
which is
okay.
which is the Get Lucky record from
Oh, right.
2013, maybe,
Yes,
something
okay.
like that.
Yes, now I remember. Okay.
But Daft Punk, the robots self-imploded and did a.
Yeah,
They are no
Random.
longer, I guess.
Oh, you know what?
They
though?
were just
Maybe they'll
learning
be
to
back.
love.
I was just.
I
learning
think-
to love.
This is what I think. I think they got like They were working actively. I think they just wanted to take a break. And anytime you take a break, you just be like, "We're gonna go on a hiatus," because when you do that,
Yeah.
when you pop back up the next time, the pop's so much bigger because you're like, "They
Yeah.
broke up." It's not like they're like, "Well, they just they aren't working right now. Things have been quiet," and then people
Yeah.
forget about you. But if
We'll
you
see.
broke up,
Yeah.
it's a little bit bigger when you pop back out.
Yeah.
The two members, Gima and Toma, they're right about like 47, 48 years old, so there's plenty of time to come back and
Still young enough to take some acid or ecstasy. And,
yeah, right, hang out
back to the
at
club.
at a pool in Paris and
Yeah, do Smolly.
Get your test strips.
yeah. So the next album
Yes,
I
we
wanted to,
do not condone drug use on this podcast.
the next one that I wanted to talk about was the album Feed the Animals by an artist named Girl Talk. This came out in 2008. Girl Talk is a guy who is a DJ. He was like a mashup expert. He had this album that came out in like maybe 2006 called Night Ripper that got a bunch of like all the music magazines were writing about it and all this stuff. And then he released Feed the Animals, which was it's basically like the ultimate version of a mega mix, which is like what DJs make, where it's like you're putting in samples and every like 30 seconds you're changing something. And he preemptively hired lawyers because he argued under fair use that he could use all these samples. If you look at the credits for Feed the Animals, it's like 40 samples on every song because every under 30 seconds he changes the drum beat, the vocals, and like the bulk of the music is constantly shifting and changing through all genres of American or world, I guess, music around the world.
Yeah.
So it's like dirty South hip hop over classic rock drums over like a Britney Spears instrumental. It's like it's crazy.
It is so bonkers. I'll link the
crazy.
I'll put it in the description box, and it's the fandom
Yeah,
link. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah,
it's so crazy.
That link, we're gonna post a link that shows every single sample and all the songs.
Yeah, you gotta scroll down a little bit, but yeah, it shows every single song, and it's ridiculous, man. It is absolutely ridiculous.
Did this record get sued at all by any?
I
Was
think
everybody cool?
I think they did have to, do legal action, but as far as I know, he wasn't like
Got
it
away
was
with it.
Yeah, because like he used it's like if you know the production style of Public Enemy's Bomb Squad, it's like so many layers of things and it's constantly shifting through the samples. That's like you're not just like playing something for 2.5 minutes. If you look at the credits, it's every 18 to 30 seconds it's shifting and
Everyone's getting paid too.
Yeah,
so
but
it doesn't really
let me just do
matter.
this.
Yeah,
See,
I
just to
don't
give
know.
you a quick example. I'll pull rabbits out of
Yeah.
a hat just to tell you, like, in terms of to get you in a sort of an idea. You have songs from Twisted Sister. You have songs from Ludacris. You have songs from Rage Against the Machine, Sinead O'Connor, Joe Budden, Khalees, Rare Earth, Procol Harum. When they do a whiter shade of pale, the band, Young
yeah,
Jock,
the-
Salt and
Nazareth.
Peppa,
When they pull up on the chorus.
Fergie, Kenny
Yeah.
Loggins, Beyonce,
Yo, how about
Phil
this?
Collins, The Police, The Cure,
there's a
Boogie
moment
Down Productions.
some of my favorite moments. There's one.
Boogie Down one.
There's one part where Busta Rhymes, I think it's "Woo Ha Got You All in Check," is over the intro of The Police's "Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic."
Yeah.
There's a part where Mary J. Blige's "Real Love" is over the Umbrella drums and the Guess Who's "These Eyes" piano. There's a time where Jay-Z's "Rock Boys" plays over the guitar solo of "Paranoid Android" by Radiohead. There's a time when "Let Me Clear My Throat" by DJ Cool plays over "Come On Eileen." Like I can't express how like in college someone would say, what music do we want to play for before we go out? And I would just play this hour-long thing. Or how many parties I've been to, and someone says, well, man, if you want to pick the music, like, you be my guest. And I just go, yeah, let me pull up Feed the Animals, start at the beginning, and every 30 seconds the room is gonna go, holy shit, what the fuck is happening?
Right.
Because it's just like there's no stop. It just goes.
If
goes,
wedding
goes,
DJs
goes.
ever get a
Oh my
fucking
God.
hint that this record exists, it's over for what wedding you. If you,
All you just have to do is hit play and walk away.
That's
and you got like an
literally-
hour of the.
Yeah.
You got an hour-long dope
And
part.
I've been listening to this album. I listened to this multiple times a year for the last close to 15 years. There's still 40 times in this hour that my head almost explodes because I'm just like, how is this happening right now?
Yeah.
How is this?
like it shouldn't make sense on paper. Then you hear it like. I was saying to him, like,
It's like-
one of my favorite pieces of music ever is like the breakdown in Heart's Magic Man, the synth breakdown, like the
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
yeah, it like climbs up. They have like a rapper that like is rapping
Yeah.
on every beat that breaks.
Yeah.
It's like dum 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 dum, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, how would it doesn't make any sense, and it works perfectly.
So this is like what you think of mashup. Like
This is
one
mashup.
of my favorites, which is ACBGs, which is BGs over Back in Black. This is like taking that and making this is the Mona Lisa of mashups. This is like a new style of art form. It's like to call it a mashup is like you have to. I would call this more of like a pop music sound collage or something. It's like it's like a patchwork quilt of music history. It's crazy.
And if you like I did listen to the DJ AM Travis Barker stuff that was released like around this time too. This is a way better version of that. So like mashups were very popular when I was in high school. You were in college, and I never this record like never got around to like my friend group, but this would have been the one everybody would have listened to this. This would have been amazing. I can't believe like this didn't apparently got passed around in like the college circle.
Yeah.
But it never made it down. Like this was like
This
was,
guy, Girl Talk, was like playing college house parties in
Yeah.
the late 2000s, or playing at venues like Mark Rebier, like playing 800 person venues of just like packed, sweaty, just like grimy. We're listening to like this what he does. It's masterful.
One of the highlights for me on this record is sort of a clashing of worlds, you might say. Mine and Luke's, the Raekwon verse from Wu-Tang Clan's Cream over "Hold Your Head Up" by Argent. And before we started recording this podcast, Jeff and I were sitting here being like, "Yeah, who is that? Was that
Listen,
Van Halen?
no,
Who is?
let me say
what's
this.
that from?" And of course. How naive. We have an Argent expert in the building. Sorry, he calls himself Sergeant Argent.
I have like 7 Argent records.
Eddie Soldiers.
And Jeff was looking through my shelves one day, and it's of course like right in the front A's, and he's like, "Why do you have so many Argent records?"
Who needs 17 Argent albums?
Who the hell would eat 23 bagged lunches?
And I was like,
I'll tell you who.
the Zombies only made
Goddamn
2 albums,
Sasquatch.
and I was impatient and I wanted more, but there's nothing there.
Yeah, well, so
Another one, No Diggity,
Yeah.
over the skittery electronic drums of 15 Step by Radiohead. Like, it's crazy.
I forget
it's crazy.
what's playing underneath,
good.
but whatever was the "Come on, Ride the Train." The "Come
Oh,
on,
yeah,
Ride the Train."
yeah.
I forgot what was underneath
Yeah.
it, but it was so inappropriate to be
Yeah.
underneath it, and I was like, "Hell yeah!"
yeah, man, there's so many highlights.
Check it out.
Great.
And,
yeah, check it
and-
out. Listen,
and,
you gotta listen.
Like,
to
I
it.
listened to it so much from the top, which I should change up my style because I know like the front half of this record, like it memorized.
Yeah.
It works. You can just start on any track and just put it on, the repeat, the album thing. Like, I need to starting it on like 2/3 through because it's a dance party mix. It never stops. Like, it's seamless. Anyway.
Give it a listen. Check it out.
And the third one to talk about, the album Body Talk by Robyn, which was like a full album version of 3 EPs she had released that year in 2010, Body Talk Volume 1, 2, and 3. And this is like she leaves off like the acoustic versions that were on a couple of those EPs, and it's I don't know, 16, 18 tracks. Again, dance albums we see, the kind of time stamp that we look for dance albums is like exactly an hour. Whereas for other rock album stuff, we like 42 minutes is like what you want. But dance music, you want to be in the world and you want to really get the groove on. This Robyn album is like European synth pop. It's like millennial music. It's dance music from people who grew up on boy bands and Britney Spears, and she's Swedish, so like the pop production of those artists by like Max Martin, who's a Swedish producer. Big hits off this album. Call Your Girlfriend, huge hit. On the full album, it's like very synthy. It's the radio mix. I enjoy the EP version a little bit more. It kind of is a little bit more like early Nine Inch Nails style, like a little grimier. And then the other big album, oh no, that's Dance on My Own. I misspoke. The other big hit was Call Your Girlfriend, which is my personal favorite on this album. I've been listening to these albums all week. Call Your Girlfriend, I put on at the gym yesterday. I listened to it like nine times in a row on repeat because I'm just like, I fucking love this song. Snoop Dogg's featured on it on a song, and this was like Snoop Dogg right when he started doing like shit with Katy Perry and kind of doing the singing thing, and it works. And this is a badass, great pop album, great dance album. It's everything is dancey, so
it's very ABBA adjacent.
Yeah, Sweden.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
For me, it shout out to my cousin Eddie. I have a cousin Eddie who used to live here in the States, and he had a 1985 Porsche 944, and I feel like this is an appropriate album to listen to in a Porsche 944. It just has that sort of like Euro-y thing about it, where it's like, oh yeah, it's a late night, and you're driving on your Porsche 1985 Porsche 944.
I like how you said too. It's got like the it's like dance music that was made from people who grew up with like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. It definitely has like a Spice Girls. It's got
spiced exactly.
It's got all that like energy in it. It's also got like for the time too, like we talked about the Beyoncé album and Muna album a couple weeks ago that had very strong LGBT stuff in it, content. This album is very effacing in that way and kind of broke through more in Europe than the United States, I'd say. But it has that in it, and it's definitely the predecessor to definitely that Muna album that we just reviewed a couple weeks ago out on Sub Pop. Check it out. It sounds like that, like the child of those. This record, it has a lot of really, it's of the pop music at the time. It's got way more content than a lot of the stuff that was being made, and it definitely has that. It's so, like Mike said, it's so European. It's like that. It's almost like it sounds very American, but at the same time, the sensibility of it is it's European dance music as opposed to American dance music, because American dance music is more like I want to say not as more focused on like a groove. Like the
melodies,
then this is more focused on like the high, like the where
all the arpeggiating synths.
Americans are like like want really heavy,
because this is the same time where this was like pop European dance music, and this was like the high times of American dubstep. I say that because we're talking dance music. Listen to real dubstep music. It's not Skrillex. It's its own thing, Skrillex and all that stuff's cool. But 2010, this is like the height of Skrillex and the bro step, the aggressive metal influenced techno stuff. And this is like, I'm at a club and I don't care that my boyfriend's not talking to me or texting me back. I'm just gonna dance all night, kind of stuff.
And we are down at the discotheque.
And truly, where you see that the bro culture dubstep fad is really flavored out so fast.
Short-lived.
It was such a small ball. And then this being released in that time period has only grown and flowered out other projects, and other artists are still being influenced, and people are still like listening to this. That was a very interesting thing because culturally, dubstep died out faster than disco ever would, and people were very into it. And then, like the next week, people were like, "I was not into it. I was never into it."
Yeah.
No, yeah,
and this album, this in the latest Rolling Stone 500 albums, I think it's like in the top 200. It's like 185 or something.
Yeah. Oh, maybe was it the greatest songs or greatest albums? Because we did it and we talked.
Oh, you're
about
right.
It
it is in the top 20 albums.
because we talked about it, and this was me and yours introduction to Robyn because we were like, "Who is this?"
Oh,
we didn't even know who it was.
No, it
top
wasn't.
20. No,
I don't think it was this record. Was it this record?
It would have been this record.
It was
either this is the big.
It was either the record or the song "Dancing on My Own" was in.
That's what it is.
Top 20.
Dancing on My Own
song,
was in top 20
of some
of
kind
songs of all time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the album I think is like in the 160s, 170s or something.
All right.
But yes, because me and you were like, "Who's Robyn?"
Yeah.
And
Right.
then we were like, "Just
Dancing
like you
on
don't know
My
who
Own.
Robyn is."
Yeah.
Which again, I misspoke, but Dancing on My Own has the single mix, which is all those shiny high arpeggios. I like the grimier kind of version, but yeah. So that's dance music. That's some dance music of the 21st century. That's like big, seminal, poppy, like culturally.
I think what Jeff laid on the table here is 3 albums from the past like 20 years that lay out what's happening now in dance music because this is the year of dance music. It's going to keep coming, I think. Culturally, I think pop artists are going to be more in the dance realm. You can see it happening. All the articles being written about the Drake and Beyonce albums all favor that.
And we see how that happens, coincidence, correlation, who knows? But like the disco and dance music of, let's say, 1975 to 1981, what preceded that directly? Vietnam War, America, kind of the Nixon era, a lot of fucking America was crazy, civil rights movement, etc. Now we have 2020s, recession in 2008, Donald Trump, COVID, so we're coming out of this decade of
we were in a
America
20-year war.
Right. Afghanistan and Iraq wars.
Right, so it's time to party, man. Let's fucking turn up.
Well, you have it. I mean, let's end the podcast now. We're off. We're out on time anyway. But hey, man, it's time to party.
It's like my fucking girl Lizzo said, man. It's about damn time.
It's about damn time. Anyway, as we sign off, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us on this ride. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment and share the podcast with your friends and family and everybody who might enjoy this podcast because we love making it, and we know that the fact that you guys watch and listen and stuff, we appreciate you. So please make sure to share it because we appreciate you. So
get your ass off the wall.
Get your ass off the wall. It's time to party. We'll see you next time.
This has been a presentation from the Wasted Robot Network. For more information and links to other shows, please visit www.wastedrobotrecords.com/podcasts.